Hello and welcome to The Licensed Dad. Vlog entry number 3. Uh, Today I thought I'd talk about eating habits. Now, when my daughter was toddler, pre-toddler, she ate pretty much anything we put in front of her. Name it. And as she's gotten older, things have gotten more complicated. She's just turning 10 this summer, and she's decided that she doesn't like potatoes. She doesn't like beans, doesn't like some soups. It would probably take me less time to make a list of what she will eat, eyes closed. If we had hot dogs, hamburgers, lasagna, 7 days a week, there'd be no issue. Now, the interesting thing is we previously, when my daughter was about my son's age now, which is about 4, we lived in Europe, and while we were there, we traveled everywhere. Ireland to as far as the Czech Republic. So we've tried a lot of different things. It was why we were there. We were there to enjoy other cultures. And it was an adventure. Food was fun. Food was a thing to be experimented, to be learned. Some of the stranger things that still are acceptable would be hummus is high on her list. They love raw cucumber, yellow peppers, red peppers, green peppers. My daughter loves raw carrots. God forbid you cook them or steam them. Raw? Got a winner. Now, if we start at the first thing in the morning, since I, some days of the week, actually have to go into work, I just simply have the habit of getting up very early. I get up at like 6 o'clock, quarter after 6. Go upstairs, make some coffee, go wake up my daughter, make her breakfast. Almost 99% of the time, it's toast with peanut butter. My son gets up and he's a little... For him, sometimes I don't want to eat anything at all. I want 1 toast, not 2. Of course, I want a second one in 10 minutes when everything's put away. Or cereal. Lunch is a little more reasonable, but sandwiches. Just 2 pieces of bread, some meat, maybe a piece of lettuce or a slice of cheese, and getting them to try something else, unless of course it's leftover lasagna, hamburger, hot dog. Have good luck with that. Snacks are fairly straightforward because, as I just mentioned, they love raw vegetables. So we just open the fridge, chop, 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 chop. Go through an entire English cucumber. They each basically eat half. Then supper, pastas, anything pasta other than maybe spaghetti, even spaghetti, maybe spaghetti. If it's not lasagna, forget about things like pork chops and ribs and steak. Heaven forbid steak. Fish, no thanks. And yet, here's an interesting one. In the last 12 months, my daughter has decided that she hates pizza. Whereas her brother loves pizza. So that's always a fun evening when we decide to make pizza. Partly because my wife makes pizza from scratch. Sometimes even makes the dough from scratch. Other times the doughs we buy pizza shells and then we just make the rest ourselves. That way we can put whatever we want on there. We could do artichokes, pepperoni, peppers, leftover Italian sausage. Name it, make your own, right? No, not good. Um, a very popular meal for supper with both kids is when mommy and daddy are just completely borked and mommy says, you know what? Who wants cereal? Ah! Stranger things have happened, maybe? I don't think so. Popcorn. Saturday afternoons, watching a movie or television show if it's gross outside. You're gonna hear me say that a lot, just simply because like we're coming to the end of winter, and winter's been very long this year. So, and I'm not much of a winter kind of guy. Don't typically keep chips, chocolate, candy, those types of things in the house. It's just not on our menu for the most part. Obviously, the grandparents will show up with gum, or at Easter and whatnot, they'll be bombarded with chocolate. To be expected, I guess. They tend to forget about it. The strange thing. Halloween is always interesting because they go nuts for the 4 or 5 days pre-Halloween, and then Halloween night's always a lot of fun. And then 2 days post Halloween, they're going through their candy at lunch. Dinner, we tend to not let them do that because sugar before, getting ready for bed and whatnot. Um, but give it a week, they've completely forgotten. It's downright bizarre. Now, here's an interesting story. I was at a neighbor's house, and this neighbor sells camping equipment. And I don't mean like tents, they sell like the full on 50-foot trailers. And so they often have one in their yard because when they go camping, they just go to the yard, to their shop, pin one, and go. Now, there was a particular day when my daughter was playing with their daughter here, and they told me that they were going back over to her friend's house. So I'm pretty good buddies with the dad there, so I walked over, and because I saw he was outside in the front yard, and it was really hot out that day. And at one point, when the two girls were playing in the backyard, he said to me, he says, "Let's go sit in the trailer, and we can, the AC was on. They were getting ready to go camping." So we went and sat inside, and the air conditioning was on, and we were just chatting. And the mom was bringing in the various groceries and whatnot that they were going to be using for the weekend. She was putting stuff away in the fridge, and it was neither here nor there. And the two girls came onto the trailer and went and sat in the corner and watched a video lying on the sofa. And at one point, the mom came in with a bag of chips and put the bag of chips on the counter, was getting ready to put things away. And the daughter came over, grabbed the bag of chips, opened it, just simply started munching them. And I was just watching this. And the father turned and looked to his wife and said, what's happening? And the wife actually said, well, she's seen it now. What do you want me to do? And she just turned around and kept doing her groceries. And I turned and I looked at my daughter, and she knew, like, her eyes were this big. And I just like that. And she just sat there with her friend eating a bag of chips, which nobody did anything about. Now, I know telling the story this way makes me sound like a jerk. Um, but the context is that it was 4:30 in the afternoon. We were going to be having dinner in the next hour and a half, um, and she knows that chips are just simply not a afternoon snack. She knew. She knew. It was. She didn't even ask me. She just had that look on her face, like, can I? Because she's doing it. Wasn't an argument. Didn't go anywhere. It was all good. She understood. I was very happy with that. But the situation blew my mind, that a parent would feel that helpless in the face of one of their kids when your job is to make sure that your kids eat well, sleep well, and are just have an overall good bill of health. And they're very nice people, but as their daughter, who's the same age as mine, I watch them have arguments with her where they'll say, okay, it's 7:30, you've got school tomorrow, we need to go in because they're outside cycling. And I say to my daughter, I said, okay, they're going in, it's your turn too. My daughter will just turn around, say good night, and then she goes into the yard. And just caveat, it's not always that easy. Their daughter she just kept on rolling around in the street, and the mom would say, don't make me tell you again. And then she would keep doing it. And then the mom would wait 30 seconds and say, don't make me tell you again. And she sounded like one of that Robin Williams joke where, one of those British bobbies who don't carry weapons would say, stop, or I'll tell you stop again. He makes it funnier than I do. And I felt sad and mad at the same time. It's none of my business. Didn't say anything. But it was interesting to watch. Makes me wonder what somebody like a fly on the wall would think if they were watching what happens here. We don't always get it right. I guarantee we don't always get it right. But we're trying to teach, life skills to our kids, and getting back to food. It makes a big difference in your life if you understand proper nutrition. Now, just looking at me, I'm no, nutrition guru. What I mean by that is, you don't get up first thing in the morning and pop your face full of candy, and those types of things. My daughter does have a friend who, by the time I think she was 6, already had like 3 cavities. My daughter's about to be 10, hasn't have any at all yet. So, not to go on and on about, food, but I'm just curious, whether other people have tricks to ensure that their kids manage to get a good variety of food, just simply because, well, first of all, we live in Quebec, which means that 5 months out of the year, the ground is covered in snow. So for us, from October through to April, early April right now, there's still knee deep of snow outside right now. So that means during that period, if we want any fresh vegetables or fruit, Everything comes from either Mexico or California. It's very, very expensive. In summer, we have our own garden. We buy local strawberries, raspberries, apples in fall. Um, it's nice. Good variety, good solid variety. Winter's a lot harder. And I've had this discussion with my kids in that eating properly is way more expensive than eating fast food. Simple, just junk, just McDonald's burger. McDonald's burger costs you like $1.50, whereas making a burger at home with a nice side salad, um, maybe a fruit salad for dessert or something like that is probably going to cost you like $5 or $6 a head. So at the end of the evening, it's like 4 times the price. Um, it's so much better for you. I don't know about anybody else, but like I'll hit McDonald's maybe twice every 12 months because we happen to be on the road or something, and we got stuck in traffic, and now it's like 7 o'clock. We still haven't eaten, and we need to do something. More and more, we're doing alternate meals like Thai Express or shawarma place, those types of things. But on those occasions when we do end up at a place like McDonald's, I feel like just total garbage the rest of the evening afterwards. Um, and yet the kids are just so attracted to these places. So I'm just wondering what other parents do. Do you have tricks? Um, Maybe getting the kids involved in the cooking. My daughter doesn't have that much interest, but my son, um, he's seems to be very interested in all aspects of it, like shredding the cheese and opening the can, name it. He's there. He's a little small to be able to do any of these things on his own. Some maybe, but um, we're getting there. I'm just wondering what other people do to keep their kids properly aligned so that um, they understand as they grow up themselves that we don't say no to everything. There's always a little thing of ice cream. There's the kids get little uh, chocolate cookies. Every so often there's always like oatmeal cookies. My wife makes muffins. She makes her own cookies. um, for them, dessert is like what the whole day leads them to dessert at the end of the day. So there's almost always something. Um, but we're just trying to teach them that so that as they grow up and they become adults and they do it themselves, that if you end up eating badly, you most likely are going to end up feeling badly, and there are substantial repercussions eventually as you get older. Um, you know, type 2 diabetes right now is like skyrocketed amongst North American population. Obesity, issues with your joints, um, name it. Um, and I can see it, as my daughter goes over to her friend's place and she comes back and she's always got a candy or a toffee or a gum or something in her mouth. And when I talk to her friend's parents and they talk about all the dentist visits and all of these things, I feel that we're doing pretty good so far. Like so far, like we're cavity free. Um, my son is actually, we're kind of waiting for him to fill out. He's got so much energy and he just eats all the time. This kid eats nonstop. So when we get up in the morning, he'll ask for a toast. And an hour later, he's asking for another one. 20 minutes later, he's like, chewing sunflower seeds, and an hour later he's got apples going, and he's just non-stop. But he's just so, I can pick him up with one arm. We're waiting for him to fill out. Um, but my daughter's 10, and she's already talked to us about how some of her friends are on a diet. And a 10-year-old girl should not be thinking about dieting. You can you can be aware of what's good for you and what's bad for you, but you shouldn't be at the point where you have to diet when you're 10 years old. At 10 years old, you should be active, and you should be burning everything. Everything that goes in should be getting burned off by playing and cycling and running and jumping and swimming and hiking and like, adults have a little bit of an excuse in that we spend, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, if you can include travel, at work. Whereas, even my daughter goes to school, she walks to school. They have gym class once or twice a week. I don't remember anymore. I think it's twice a week. She comes back at lunch, and during the nicer parts of the year, she'll use her bicycle or whatever. Hopefully this year we're going to get them rollerblades. So I felt a little sad when she told me, and I know which little girl she was talking about, and I've seen you know I've seen her walking down the street with milkshakes in her hand, and it's gonna lead down to, like, a path that's gonna be troublesome to fix eventually. So again, I'm back to I'm curious as to what some people do in order to maintain variety, keep your kids interested in those things that are good for them, and keeping a treat as just a treat as opposed to an everyday fixture where if you don't get it, it then turns into a thing where, you know, we've all been there. Uh, can I go to the store and get a candy? No. So there you go. I'm curious to know what people are doing. So hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Eventually, I'll open my page. It's there. I just haven't done anything with it. Subscribe. Share this video or this link with friends that you think may be interested in this type of topic, and maybe visit our site, Licensed Dad. Leave us a message there, and maybe we can figure out how to do this together, do it properly. So, thank you. Have a good day. Enjoy being a dad.